Hey,
All
what's up,
right.
everybody? Welcome to Agent Batman School for Gifted Reviews. This week, the team reviews Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2 and the Defenders trailer among our regular movie and TV and video game news. As always, I'm Kia, known as Agent Batman. You can follow me on Instagram at Agent Batman, on YouTube as Agent Batman, and you can reach us by email at agentbatmanpodcast@gmail.com. With me on the show today are Emerson and Everett.
Hey, what's up?
All
Hey,
right, let's get started. All right, so let's go right into Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and our non spoiler reviews. Who would like to go first? Not me.
I'll go first, I guess.
Okay.
I liked it. I thought it was more funny. The grade I would give it is, I'd give it a B plus. It wasn't the
plus?
greatest movie ever made, but I liked it more than I liked the original Guardians, and I thought I knew the entire plot, but I didn't. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right, Everett.
overall, I'd probably give it a solid B because I really liked it. Liked it better than the original Guardians, but there were a few things that I felt kind of nitpicky on. But overall, I really liked it. It was very artistic, and there were a lot of nods to the fans that I liked.
What about it? What little things, if you can say without spoiling? Like
It's just
overall.
dialogue choices or settings or anything along those lines, like small things that you might find partially annoying. Not terrible, but not great either.
I had a hard time because I didn't like the first Guardians that much. I mean, it grew on me later, but I thought that it was a little too, I thought it was trying too hard to be cool and out there, and I would give the first Guardians a B, and then this one I was like, okay, I'm a little more invested in the Marvel universe now, and the characters, I've known the characters for a few years. I've watched the movie 3 or 4 times, and I had high expectations, and there were good reviews, and then after the movie, honestly, I was a little bit let down, and then I'm not sure, but I'm actually gonna go see it again today, and I'm I just I am excited to see it again. Like, I'm remembering things I liked about it. So I think I like it more 2 days later than I did when I walked out. I'm not sure what that feeling of dissatisfaction was or where it came from, but I think, I can't give it an A if I feel like that. So I'm gonna give
Right.
it a B. So
There was a lot of hype surrounding it, so that might be part of it as well. Because
That's
we've been
true.
hearing, oh, it's going to be great for a few weeks. We've been seeing the trailers.
yeah.
Uh, it's supposed to be like this great new thing.
Yeah.
So,
Um
There were
okay,
parts that
so
were really good though.
yeah.
yeah, no, of course. Okay, so if we're gonna go into the spoiler discussion, if you don't want to hear it, just look at the timestamp in the description and move on. Um, Spoiler wise, let's talk about Ego first. So, you find out in the trailer that he's Peter Quill's father.
hmm
Everett, are you familiar with Ego from the comics?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he was from the Thor comics, I think. But he was like literally a living planet, like an actual planet with a face on it, which was what I thought was
Mm-hmm.
kind of cool in the movie. Because there was
I
one
like
scene in
that
the
too.
movie where they had his face plastered on the planet, and that was almost a like a great recreation of what it looked like from the comics. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's an actual planet, and he's
He's
kind of
not
cool.
Peter Quill's father, right?
No, he's
No,
not.
he is.
Is he?
In
Oh,
the
you
comics?
mean in the movie? In the movie, I've
Well,
read
in the-
one comic where he
in-
is Peter Quill's father, but that might have been like after, as they were like planning it. But
That must be new because he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, no.
Who was his father in
in
the comics? Is it
In the
Thanos?
movie, it's Ego the Living Planet. In the comics, it's Jason or Jason. Jason of Spartax
Whatever.
is his father. He's the
Um,
emperor of the Spatori Empire.
At first I thought that Ego's little spaceship was his planet. I didn't. Because it was so organic looking. I was like, is that his planet that he made? Is that why they say he's a living planet? I don't understand, because it seems small, and I don't know. I knew he was that, but the movie hadn't said it yet. And then, they don't really show his planet from space until after he tells you he's a living planet. Like, it doesn't show them heading towards his planet, and you see the planet, and you
I
see that
guess
it's
that's
like living.
true.
You don't see that until
No. Well, but
until
I
later
was
in
under
the
the
movie.
impression that it didn't have the face until he put the face on it because he was
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah.
So he decided.
But they
to,
they
like-
didn't show the planet before that, did they?
I think they may have on some of the approaches, but it just looked like a normal planet.
Yeah. Okay.
Can
well,
I
let's
ask,
talk about his
well, can-
plan.
Well,
Okay,
can I ask
go
one
ahead.
question just before
Yeah.
we move on? Did anybody kind of get Man of Steel vibes when they were walking through like that room and they saw he had like all those like recreations
Yeah.
of like his
And
story?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was
Yeah, it felt a
weird,
little
like the
forced.
waxy figures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I just didn't understand what his place was like. Did he have to build that stuff, or did he just like snap his fingers and it's just
No,
there?
he
I
had
think
to-
it's just like snap his fingers.
No, that's
and it
he
creates.
explained. He explained in the movie how, since he's a Celestial, he spent millions of years slowly developing the ability to, like, grow more and more. Like he like appeared, and then he started like being able to control the matter around
Well, I
him.
know
and it made
we're
it
talking
more-
about like his decorations in his house. like-
okay. Well, at that point, I'm sure he could just like Emerson's right, just snap his fingers.
Because those images seem to stick around. Like later in the movie, they walk past the same thing. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. But his plan. So his plan overall. Let me try to summarize. Okay, one thing about this movie is that it did a lot of stuff for a typical like solo Marvel movie. There was a lot going on. That movie moved really quickly. Just tons of scenes, tons of action. And so Ego's plan was he's going to bring Peter, and he's trying to find a kid, one of his children, that can actually contain the power of what power was that? What was that power
It's like
source?
someone
The
who
light.
has like the celestial powers.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the
yeah.
the power
So-
of the light.
So he finally found one, and he was going to. Was he actually going to partner up with Peter? Like, was his
Yes.
goal to keep him alive? Because eventually,
Yeah, he
when
wanted-
Peter, yeah,
Well, he can't
He
kill
wanted
him.
Pe-
He needs him alive in order to control
Yeah,
the power.
he wants Peter to be alive, but he wants Peter to be working with him to take over the universe. And when Peter doesn't do that, he says, "Okay, well, I'm going to use you as a battery."
yeah. Okay.
Ego needs the power of two Celestials. Whether they're willing or not is out of the question.
Why does he need the power of two?
The way
Yeah,
they
it seems
explained it in the
pretty
movie was
arbitrary.
kind of they kind of explained it kind of shitty in the movie, but I don't. I
I'm
honestly, I don't
gonna
know.
go watch it again. Now, as far as him being Peter's dad, I was okay with it. Here's what I didn't like though, is when he tells him that he's immortal. You guys know I hate immortal characters, so
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously, like now he's not gonna age, but he is gonna age. So what the hell?
Well, no, he's only immortal as long as that planet.
He's on the
exists.
planet.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, they threw all that stuff in there, and then the movie ended with him not having it anymore, right? He's not like
Yeah.
that at all.
He's
He
not. He's
destroyed
not
the light.
immortal anymore.
Yeah.
He destroyed. Ego
Okay,
on his
so
planet.
so overall, like my problem with that is, this isn't your typical Infinity Stone Marvel movie where there's some overarching plot and there's this sense of impending doom. Like we got to do this because they're coming. Like there's none of that. This is a really like it's almost like a TV episode. It's on its own. It's not really connected to a whole bunch of other things, which is a good thing. But the point is like you find out who Peter's dad is. He gets these powers. He takes them away, and so the whole thing is sort of left without any consequence or repercussions. It's just
Well, I think there
Uh,
were consequences in that Yondu died.
yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
that was-
like
that was a kick.
that doesn't really impact the Guardians. Like, are they not the Guardians anymore?
No, it doesn't. But Yondu was essentially his father figure, which they put toward at the end. Like he was the closest he had to like an actual dad, and he's dead. Which
Yeah,
I
didn't
thought.
see
I thought.
coming.
I thought
Because
James
I
thought they were
Hasselhoff was
gonna
his
keep
Well,
father.
him
hang on.
alive.
But that was this movie. Like, he's only a father figure because the movie said he was.
That's true.
It didn't really change. I'm just saying, like, where the movie doesn't really lose anything other than, like, there's no consequence to the plot other than Yondu dies. and Yondu wasn't even a
Well,
guardian at the beginning of the movie.
also he
So
figures out his mom was murdered and was not. Um, she didn't
yeah,
die of
okay, but
natural
it's like,
causes.
but she died from cancer, so like it was still.
Yeah, from a
It
tumor
doesn't
Yeah,
really
put in her
add.
head.
Yeah, but Ego put the tumor in her head.
Well, yeah, but is that really like compelling?
I mean,
It's a throwaway
that kind
thing.
of sucks.
I mean,
No,
that's
but
the.
because see, I took it from he finds his dad. It's great. Clearly already has dad issues and mom issues, like from the start. Okay, and then oh hey, not only did your dad murder your mom, your dad's a psychopath. So now you're gonna help kill your real dad and lose your adopted dad.
They only Yondu and Peter only agreed on being a father and son duo at the end of the movie. Peter was not
That's
thinking
fair.
about Yondu the entire movie.
That's fair. But Yondu
And
seemed to
then-
be thinking about him.
Yeah, I mean because he had the history with Peter, but like Peter clearly wasn't like, this is weird. Now I have two dads. It's like no, he didn't give a fuck about Yondu. And then the thing about Ego murdering his mom, it's like, I guess that sucks, but that's like saying God put a tumor in your mind or in your head. I mean, who knows why people get cancer and all that. It sucked. It made me dislike Ego, but it didn't really change like the scope of who Peter is. It's like his mom still got her life taken away anyway. So cancer or intentional cancer, there's just like that's I think what this movie is missing is there's no like true resolution. Peter now has no dad, which before like he felt like he had no dad even though he had Yondu. Clearly that wasn't like a mutual feeling, at least at the beginning of the movie or at the end of the last one. I mean, Yondu was kind of an asshole at the end of the last one. He was like a villain, wasn't he?
Kinda. Antihero.
And he wasn't treating
He helps
Peter
him a
like
little bit.
he helps him a little, but he also like tries to kick the shit out of him a couple times. And so yeah, Ego.
I mean, isn't the whole
the
reason in this
cons-
movie that he went after Quill is that the Sovereign offered him $1 million?
But then he says, "I'm not gonna turn them into the sovereign."
Yeah, he didn't do that, which is okay. I mean, I liked Yondu in this movie. I'm just saying, like, aside from Yondu dying, there's not a whole lot to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, I can see that.
But let's talk about Yondu's death. I liked it, and I thought it was appropriate that he die, and I liked the way that they did it. I didn't like the dialogue because it was so on the nose. Like, when he comes in to swoop in and save Peter, you're like, as the audience member, I thought was like, I'm like, that's the guy that cares about him. There's Yondu. And then Yondu goes, "You're like a son to me." It's like, oh, okay. Like, it's so on the nose. You didn't have to say
he may
it.
have been your dad, but he wasn't your daddy. Or he may have been your
Yeah,
father, but he wasn't your dad.
It didn't need to be said, did it? For you guys, like to me, I'm like, that's like his real father.
I feel like
That's the
that
guy
was
who
more
raised
of a
No,
like.
but I
feel like that was more of
understand
a.
why they said it.
I feel like that was more of a
Well-
sentimental moment, not like an on the nose comment.
I mean,
I mean,
the theater I was in.
you
took
can't
that as
get
a
more
joke.
on the nose. Oh, okay. To me, I was like, I was in the moment, and then he like takes me out of it when he's like, "See, this is us as father and son." And he's like, he might as well be breaking the fourth wall at that point to say something
Yeah.
so on the nose. Okay, but I did like his death. One thing about this music, which something I've struggled with when we do the Coyote Crew movies, when you use music that wasn't meant for your movie, sometimes the scenes can get a little long because the music's not set up to end when it's convenient.
Yeah.
And I noticed that a lot in this movie, specifically the Yondu scene. I forget the song that was playing, but
Wait,
it seemed
where
to
he's,
go
like,
on
using
and
his,
on.
His arrow to kill people.
Yeah, it went on
On
and
the
on. It's like because you
Brad
can't just stop the song. The song goes.
Yeah.
You can't just stop it. And that one, I don't know. It seemed long to me. Did you guys feel like it was long?
A little bit. I wasn't really focused on the music though. I was focused on the action, and I feel like a
How
lot of people
about-
were
Towards the
focused on
end,
that as well.
yes, it was a little long, but I thought it was interesting enough that I didn't care. Now, if I watched it again, I'd probably be like, "Can this scene end?" but
when
watching
when
it
he
the
does the
first
thing,
time,
you know when you see the overhead shot and the arrows flying all over the place,
yeah, it's like everywhere.
and then after that, that main Taserface guy comes in, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we're still doing this. Can you just break out already? Like we know you're leaving. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just a little too long. But another one was the opening. I like the opening with Mr. Blue Sky, but I mean it was long. It was
When they're
long as
killing
fuck.
the interdimensional creature.
Yeah,
The fight with the obelisk was definitely not what I expected.
it was cool. It was interesting to watch, but it did go on and on. It did, and that's because the song
true,
doesn't
yeah.
have a good place to stop. Now they finally did like just cut it. Like they didn't even play the whole song, and it was still so long. But whatever. Uh, I just wanted to discuss the music thing. Um, how about some of Drax's lines? I thought were not.
Were a little
I-
weird.
They were out of character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I
when
can
he's
see
like, at one point he's like, "This is awesome." Like Drax said that. It doesn't
Although
sound
I did
like him.
really like his interplay with Mantis. I thought that was hilarious.
That
I really
deadpan, that deadpan straight to the point dialogue, that's Drax to me.
Yeah.
But when he was like celebrating things and using casual verbiage, I was just like, that's not Drax, that's the writer talking, whoever wrote it. It just didn't
Yeah,
seem
it was
like
a bit
Drax at
odd.
all.
But I do have to
mhm.
say, every time he talked to Mantis, like when he's saying, "I think you're disgusting," and then when she wakes him up in the middle of the night and he says,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
not
yeah.
have relations with you. I'm imagining having a physical I think it's all hilarious. I thought
Yeah,
that was
no,
really funny.
good. Yeah. Well, I was gonna save this for later, but we can talk about it now. What was your favorite joke in the movie?
Hmm.
I'll tell you mine.
I'm gonna have
Um,
to. Yeah, you go.
Okay. The Mary Poppins joke was the funniest part for me.
That was super
that was
funny.
pretty funny.
And I wish there was more of that, like Peter saying references that matter to him and no one else understanding. Like the genius of that was not that he called him Mary Poppins, it was that he thought Mary Poppins was a man. And so,
Yeah.
that's why I thought it was so, like, they could play a lot of stuff like that up.
Yeah.
But whatever. And
My favorite.
isn't it a little weird? One more thing. Isn't it a little
Yeah.
weird that some of the humor they do, like Drax and Rocket, some of the humor is very close to like Earth 2017 humor, and I'm like, shouldn't they be different? A little bit different, like their sense of humor, their cadence, and the way they tell jokes, should not be so close to Earth. You
Yeah,
guys
I guess
know
that's
what I'm
true.
talking about?
Yeah, I feel like
but
I feel like
mean,
they
you
should
have to be careful anyway because it is they're coming to the audience, so they don't want to alienate people.
and they make an
They're really-
effort in the movie to distance themselves from Earth in a lot of ways.
That's true. Yeah, and then they look like people you'd well, not look like, but they sound like people you'd hear at the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Alright,
okay, whatever.
so-
I mean, it's not a big deal. But Emerson, your favorite joke?
I'm gonna have to say it was the end where Drax is like, "You are beautiful, Mantis," and then there's
On
the
the
pause,
inside.
and I knew it was coming, and he says, "On the inside." That was just funny because I was just like, yeah, because I was a little annoyed at first when he started saying "You are beautiful" because I thought you're not really gonna make him change and be lovey-dovey. But when he says "on the inside," I was like, there we go. I laughed at that.
Yeah, that one was funny too. All right, mine was the Zune one at the end.
The which one?
The Zune joke at the end, because you know how they
yeah.
they smash his Walkman. They're like, "Oh, this is a Zune. This is what everyone's using on Earth nowadays. You can hold 300 songs." And he's like all amazed by that. Meanwhile, me and my dad are just laughing our asses off at that in the movie theater.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if he'll carry a Zune in the next movie, and like
Yeah,
play
and
it
Tony
like
Stark
that.
will be like,
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
no.
once they meet everyone on Earth, I'm sure he's gonna get some form of upgrade. Like they're gonna look at his Zune and be like, "Oh, you can hold 300 songs. That's great. I have a."
Well, he's gonna
this,
have
this,
to
and this.
because they're not gonna have a good way to put the music in. Did you guys think that the soundtrack was better this time around?
I thought it was worse, but
I
it was
did
still
not
good.
think it was better. Yeah.
I thought it was worse, but not terrible. Like they had some good ones, but There were definitely a few that could have been left out.
I mean, the Sam Cooke one was great. Mr. Blue Sky, I get it. That the whole montage, and there's a couple other songs that, like, I love the Brandy song, and the Chain is also good.
Yeah, that one was awesome.
There's a couple that they're just not my taste. They're good songs,
Right.
but I just didn't feel like they were utilized well enough.
Well, and also
you know
the thing
that
is, in
David
the
Bowie
first-
song? Hmm.
Which one?
song?
From the first movie, the Spaceman song. I can't remember what it's called
Yes,
right now.
yes, I remember it.
And you know how he's just playing that in a spaceship randomly, like it's just
Yeah.
it's in the background. Like, I thought that's the kind of music, like, it builds the atmosphere better than having scenes set to certain songs.
Yeah, I
It was-
agree. And also, okay, they had a lot of
Yeah.
really good music in the first one. They did.
Yeah,
And
they took that
when
concept
they-
and cranked it up.
Well, when they build a character around the idea of, oh, awesome music, and part of his character is that he has some good music, they're backing themselves into a corner because sooner or later they're going to run out of songs that are applicable to the scenes, like you were saying. So it's going to become kind of gimmicky.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when Mantis was going to tell Drax the secret and Gamora walks in, what did you guys figure it out then? What was going on?
Well, I knew she was going to say Ego was evil.
Okay.
I knew there, but I thought it was going to be like, oh, Ego is going to eat his son or something. I didn't realize it was going to be he's going to like brainwash
Eat his
team
son.
him up to destroy the world. Well, because I assumed, okay, I saw I knew that there was no way Ego could be a good guy with that much power. There was no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, that was my thought
Um,
process too. Like that's like a really
And
common
we hadn't really been presented a real bad guy. The Sovereign were bad, but they weren't enough. Because the
See,
trailers presented the Sovereign as
yeah.
the main bad guys,
Well,
but they weren't.
I knew Sylvester Stallone was in this movie, and I thought he might be the bad guy because he hadn't shown up yet, from what I remember.
I mean,
But
I kind of thought Taserface might have been the bad guy, but he only turned out to be
Oh
a
my
minor
God.
villain.
yeah. I thought
Thank
that the
God.
secret. I mean, okay, I thought it could be that Ego is evil because the movie sort of hints at it the whole time. Like, first Peter
Yeah.
doesn't trust him, then Gamora doesn't trust him after that scene. But I was hoping that they wouldn't do that. You know, I was trying to keep an open mind, but the way Gamora reacted and the way Mantis reacted when she saw Gamora, I thought that maybe Gamora was in love with Drax. I was just like, oh, maybe that's
Oh,
something.
because
Like,
she had touched Gamora.
she had touched her, yeah, and she
Yeah.
didn't want to say it because they were talking about Drax's wife or something, right, at that time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I thought that might have been. I mean, I didn't know where the plot was going really, and I'm like, okay, there's going to be a villain, but so far there hadn't been one, so I thought that could complicate things,
Right.
but it didn't. And I'm not saying that would have been a better way to go, but it did. Like, there was a solid chunk of time where I was expecting that to be the secret, and it never came. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, some of the characters had a better turn this time around. Gamora is one of them, who in the first movie I just didn't get her. Like, she was mean and an assassin, but I hate when, like, you're just supposed to assume that this person is super strong, super fast, super good at killing. That's not a character to me anymore. It's been done so many times. So that was kind of who she was, and then she was Thanos' daughter. But it's one of those things where you look at Thanos and you look at her and you're like, how are they related? And then you look
Yeah,
at Nebula and you're like, how are they related?
Just building off that, so I did like the subplot where Nebula had like part of her replaced with machinery every time she lost,
Yeah.
by Thanos, because that made sense why she was a fucking robot and her sister is not.
Yeah.
But one of the issues I had, so Nebula constantly mentions, I'm gonna kill Gamora and then kill Thanos.
Yeah.
So, is Thanos not powerful? Like, they throw in at the end, I don't know if you can kill him, but it seems pretty casual that she
I
would
feel like
just say,
they're
I'm
gonna
gonna kill
humanize
Thanos.
him. I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen him do anything.
Yeah, but
Thanos
I don't
is a
want him to
tricky
be
one.
like, I don't want him to be someone who you can casually just be, I'm gonna kill him. I don't want
Well,
him to
you know,
be-
in the Infinity Gauntlet, Nebula wears the gauntlet and kills him, right? Isn't that what happens
I think so.
in the comic? I know Nebula has a pretty big role, and that was actually going to be my next talking point. Is I just don't find Nebula that interesting,
Yeah, no.
and I can't tell. Is she supposed to be purple and then she has like blue cyborg parts, or is she blue? I just don't get how they're related. Like, who are their mothers, and
They were.
do they
Did
have
actually,
mothers?
Like, have relations? Did he build them? Did
I
he
think
find
I
them?
think that they were taken and then they were groomed to be like these.
But why does
super
Thanos even
soldiers.
need them when it comes down to it?
Well, I mean, you're
I
not
don't
going to
know.
go out and do
I
everything
mean,
that you have
that
to in a
Kree
galaxy.
guy in the first Guardians clearly thought he could kill Thanos, and Thanos' response was basically
You mean
just to
Ronan?
sit around. Yeah,
I
Ronan
I
thought
feel
he could
like
kill
they're doing
Thanos.
that on purpose, though. I feel like everyone is over or under. No, they're underestimating Thanos, and then when he gets the
Then
gauntlet
why
in
didn't he
Infinity
kill
Wars,
Ronan? Because he wanted the Infinity Stone that Ronan had.
hmm
And Ronan basically says "fuck you," and Thanos' response is to kind of sit around and mope.
You know, if he's not this super all-powerful being, I'm actually okay with that, because that means that they're not going to beat him in some stupid way where he gets weakened.
But then how is he a credible threat?
The gauntlet. Maybe the gauntlet does it.
But then that would turn him into the super all-powerful being, and then they would beat him in a weird
But only
way.
when he wears the gauntlet. So the trick
Yeah,
is
okay.
don't let him get it. That could be the first movie. The whole first movie is just don't let him get the gauntlet, which I think it will be. In the Infinity Gauntlet comic book, there's a whole section where it's him going to the I forget what they're called, but there's like certain beings that are
Watchers?
like, no, they're like the oldest beings around, and they think of each other as brother and sister. And
Titans?
no, not Titans, but Jeff Goldblum's Game Master from Thor Ragnarok, that character,
Yeah.
he's one of them. He's one of them, and there's a couple others. I think the Collector is another one.
Okay.
And they have the stones, and he goes to each and every single one of them and kills them somehow, like tricks them somehow, and gets the stone. I think I think this Infinity War movie will be that, mostly.
But you said you
But-
think Thanos won't be returning for Avengers 4.
I don't, but that was before I saw this movie. So I guess we can go into that discussion right now, which is, you guys saw that there were 5 end credit scenes.
Yes.
Okay, only one of them was relevant, and that one was Adam Warlock.
Yeah. I mean,
And,
that's not necessarily true. I mean,
No. One of them was Teenage Groot. One of them
Yeah.
was Stan Lee talking to the Watchers.
yeah, that's the one that I'm
Uh-huh.
referring to because I'm super convinced.
That
I'm
one's not interesting.
I'm
That's
super
just like a
convinced of
nod.
that. Yeah, but I'm convinced at that fan theory that everyone's talking about with Stan Lee and the Watchers. Have you guys heard
What?
about that? Okay, so
No.
there's this
What, where
fan.
he is a Watcher.
Yeah, there's this fan theory going around that with all the Stan Lee cameos that you see in every single Marvel movie, that Stan Lee is Uatu the Watcher, and they're going to reveal that
Uh-huh.
in Infinity Wars or in some movie. And that kind of would explain why he was talking about his cameo in Civil War in that one scene, where he's talking about how he was a delivery guy. Do you remember that?
Okay, yeah, I don't know, but the Watcher, like that, we don't even have context for that in this universe yet. We don't know what they're like, what they do, what they are part of, what they know.
Well,
we don't know any of that.
We know
So-
what they are from the comics, is that they just watch,
Yeah.
but they're sworn to never intervene.
Let me ask you something. Is this you know that Peter Dinklage was cast in the Marvel universe? Do you guys
Yes,
guys
I
remember
remember
that?
that. I do. But
Um,
we still haven't seen who he is.
is he one of those guys?
Well, the Watchers, I thought, were kind of tall.
Yeah, but I mean, they're also CGI.
I could see him voicing Uatu because like that would be a really good voice for him. I think.
Yeah, I wonder if that was him. But there's another theory that he might be the guy that makes Thor's hammer or some shit like that. I forget.
Yeah.
The dwarf.
There's an
guy.
Asgardian person that makes the weapons, and I think that's the running theory right now.
Yeah, I
but
think in the Norse mythology, I'm pretty sure it's a dwarf.
no one's talking
A
about
mythical dwarf.
Peter Dinklage's cameo in the end credits scene of Guardians, so I don't think that was him. But anyway, so yeah, Adam Warlock. The thing about Adam Warlock is, I think he's a super boring character. Super boring. One of those all-powerful beings, created in a test tube, that sort of shit. And he's super powerful. Right now, he's not listed as being in Infinity War.
He's gonna be
But
in
here's something-
Guardians 3.
Yeah, but here's something I didn't think about. This
Okay.
movie is set in 2014.
It's
I'm
only
pretty
3
sure.
months after the first movie.
Well, yeah, I heard it was like 6 months, but the point is that, so 3 years. So if the MCU typically goes in real time, so let's just say, so Civil War. Let's just say Civil War is like our benchmark. This is like 2 years before Civil War, so we don't even know what's going on in space right now, when Civil War is going on, and when Doctor Strange is going on. We don't know
Yeah.
what the cosmic situation is. We
Right.
don't even know what the situation is when Thor Ragnarok comes around. So that's interesting. So in 3 years, will Adam Warlock arrive? Actually, Infinity War comes out next year, so it'll be 4 years from when we see that cocoon. So he might be, but he's not currently listed. We don't know who the actor is, and
Well, I don't know.
I'm okay
Yeah,
if-
I don't even. I had to look up what Adam Warlock was immediately after the movie.
yeah, because
And-
he's not very interesting.
I don't see. Yeah, I
His
don't
background
see
is like
him-
ridiculous too. It's all over the place.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't know. I don't really want him to be in the MCU from what I've heard about.
I
him,
thought they weren't going to use him, and I was actually pretty happy about it. But that was one thing. That's one reason I left the theater not very enthusiastic, because I wasn't happy about the Adam Warlock thing. I didn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
But so the implication here is, if he's not in Infinity War and he is in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and possibly Avengers 4, then that means that Avengers 4 could be something on another large scale. And Kevin Feige has come out and said that they're not going to announce the title for Avengers 4 because it can spoil Avengers Infinity War. So it seems like Avengers 4 is going to have something to do with Infinity War. Will it be Thanos? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Thanos is going to go down, but we'll see.
I mean, yeah, maybe. You never know, though.
Okay, so you guys know
We can only
who the director's brother is? Sean Gunn.
No.
He was that skinny Ravager that was in the movie the whole time, and
The
Yeah,
one
the-
who
like-
had a,
the guy that
the one
gets
who
the
was
Yaka
loyal
arrow?
to-
the
one that was
guy
loyal to-
who didn't need to be in the movie is what I'm saying.
The guy who gets the Yaka arrow at the end.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, no offense, like, hey, if you're the director, put whoever you want in there, but that character literally had nothing to do except for the end when he flew the plane. And you could have easily written him out of that too. You could have just had the plane be there or something. I mean, that character just kept coming back, and I knew it was the director's brother the whole time, who, by the way, does the CGI for Rocket most of the time. And, like, that's all great, but, I mean, do you guys even know that character's name?
Nope.
That's what I'm
No.
saying. Like, he did nothing that was notable, yet he was in
I
the
don't
movie the
remember
entire
his
time.
name.
Because I don't think they said it. He's not important enough. I didn't like how much screen time that guy was getting. It's like, stop popping up in every goddamn scene. He literally just keeps popping up. So anyway, then he even had his own end credit scene. Like, are you serious? Can I have one of the actual characters, please?
Yeah,
mean,
that's
Drax
the thing I
was
want to
there.
say. I was pretty disappointed with the end credit scenes for the most part, because I was expecting. First of all, I expected.
I like
there
the
would be,
teenager
some
one.
Nod. I thought, yeah, it was nice, but I thought there was going to be some nod to either Thor or maybe Infinity War. I wasn't entirely sure, but I'm like, okay, there's got to be a nod somewhere in here. No.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a lot to chew on. The Adam Warlock thing, that's cool, but and I like the teenage Groot thing. I thought that was funny, and I think that's their way of saying that he's going to be older in the next one, like not a teenager, he'll be an adult. Um,
Yeah.
One thing I didn't consider is maybe Groot will look different as an adult this time around. Like maybe he'll just grow differently. Maybe he grows differently every time. And so what if he's like really buff next time around? Like huge.
And,
Be
like,
interesting to
actually
see. Well, instead of being like a tall, lanky tree, what if this time, in some of the comics, if you look at the way they draw him, he's very like scarecrowish and like
Yeah.
creepy. And you can also make him like thick, super thick. So anyway, one problem I have with these movies, or not these movies, but Guardian, is they don't seem to like. What is it that brings them together? When Drax says
It's that they're a
family,
team,
I'm
guess.
like literally my eyes could not roll back any further. It was like I was watching Fast and Furious, and he's like, "It's about family." I'm like, seriously, you're gonna do this shit where you say you guys are family, but like you really haven't done a whole lot.
Right.
Like what is it that brings them together? Really? Their witty comedy.
Yeah,
Like
I don't,
I'm asking, like I want you guys to tell me the answer so I can be like, oh, okay, I was wrong. That this is justified, but I don't understand what Gamora and Rocket and Drax and Star-Lord have that's so strong.
well, it's the Bond from the first movie, as far as
Is
I can
it?
tell.
Or their lust
Is
for
it?
cash from all the bounties and jobs they take.
Yeah, but they don't seem to make much cash.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole movie starts off with them taking a job from the Sovereign, and the only reward
Okay,
the
but that's
reward they get the reward they get was Nebula. They didn't ask.
So
for money.
that's what they do is like they work together, but they're not a family. Other than they
I mean-
argue, I don't really see what's so close about them.
I mean, the only thing you could probably take from that is that Star-Lord and Gamora have that quote-unquote unspoken thing that they keep referencing in the movie.
Yeah.
That, like, gets
But,
a little weird.
And then here's the other thing. What does it mean to be a guardian of the galaxy? Like what does that entail? They don't even have a uniform. Like there's no uniform. So they're just
Well,
a
I don't know,
ragtag.
they're people that save people. Isn't
Like
that
when
the
I
thing?
look, when you look at the characters, I see a bunch of individuals. I don't see a team. Maybe that's just me, but I just like they don't look like even the Avengers, even though they all look different and do different things and have there's not a lot of crossover. You look at them and you're like, oh, that's the Avengers. Like you can see the team together, but you look at the Guardians and they don't look like they belong with each other. They're just so weird and different. And I think personally, I think that if they wore some sort of same color uniform, that it would be different. Because do you remember at the end of the first movie when they all wore their Ravager stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They looked good together. I'm like, that's a team.
Well, they looked like yeah, they looked like a team.
And the Ravager
Right.
stuff is a nice color. It's like maroon. I was expecting them to continue with that, but they're
they
still.
didn't.
Yeah, I mean, like, because what's the best part of all their costumes? It's Peter Quill's jacket. So that's the
And
Ravager,
his
so you can
helmet,
keep
his
that.
weird helmet.
Yeah, but that weird
you can
helmet got
keep that.
destroyed.
But Gamora looks better in the red in the first movie, I think, than her black stuff. Drax can wear the red pants. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't wear much anyway. Rocket can wear, he's wearing blue this time before he wore yellow. So wear red. Now you guys are all matching and you look like a team. You look like you work together.
Yeah, that's a
Whatever.
fair
I'm
point.
just saying, just like on screen, I don't see. I'm trying to look for like the team, a guardian. It means something to be a guardian, and it's like, but they don't even look like they're together. So,
Yeah, that's
And
a
then-
fair point, but I don't know. I never really thought about it that way, just because I always assumed, it's just like the way.
well,
they
because
are.
people call them the Space Avengers, but like I said, there's no team anyway. Sylvester Stallone. I don't know about you guys, but I hated him in this movie.
Okay, that part where him and Yondu were talking, I could not understand him at several points.
Yeah, he can't talk, and he also just doesn't fit at all.
I kind of like it.
I mean,
I don't know.
I just what part of that character had to be Sylvester Stallone?
Well, I thought it was just, hey, look,
didn't,
Sylvester
but-
Stallone, just like when they had Shaq at the end.
Shaq?
What? Who wasn't not Shaq? Oh God. Who was the guy at the
What?
end? He was the black guy who played one of the Ravager captains. He's famous.
I don't know that guy. People were cheering in the theater. I don't know who that was.
I don't know his name.
I mean,
but
I know that
he's-
android head is Miley Cyrus.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. That was
Really?
Miley Cyrus. Yep.
Okay. But no, who was that black guy?
I'll look it up.
I don't know. He's famous though. He's famous.
I'm trying to look it up. I didn't know. That's a good
I've seen
point.
him in something.
Who was he?
Although
Was he
I
in
don't
the first
actually
one?
Remember. No, he was not in the first one.
So who the hell is he?
He's it's literally fan service.
But who? I can't even
I don't
find
know. I have no clue. How the heck would I know?
it. So every leader of the Ravagers, like of the factions, was each one someone famous?
I think so. I think that was the idea, that they were all famous. They were all well. Okay, and you know at the end, all those leaders. That's the original Guardians of the Galaxy, right? With Stallone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But not in any realistic way. Like, I don't think those characters have anything in common with the characters from the comics, other than the name.
Yeah, no, they don't. But that was supposed to be a nod, which I guess was cool, but I didn't think it was that awesome, to be completely honest.
Well, no, because it's Sylvester Stallone. It's like, you're not going to look at him and be like, oh, that's Sakaar. You're going to look at him and say, that's Sylvester Stallone. I thought he was going to play himself, in a cameo. But
Like David
he's an
Hasselhoff?
he's an actual character, and I don't know. I thought he was
The
terrible.
guy I think you're referring to, his name is Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames. That sounds familiar, but
That's-
who? What is
Doesn't
he
sound familiar to
in?
me at all.
He was in.
I've heard.
Yeah,
that
well,
name
he's the
before.
only black guy that in this list, so I'm assuming he played Charlie
I know
from
his
27,
face.
right? He was in
don't know.
Mission Impossible. He's the black guy
I
in
Yeah,
Mission
remember that.
that's
Impossible.
where I know him from.
He was in yeah, that's
Called him
that.
He's been
He's
in more
Death
famous
Race.
stuff than that.
He was in
But-
Gravity, the TV series.
Was it TV series?
I'm
He's
looking
more-
through his IMDb.
He's famous for something more than that.
He was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, but that's older. There's got to
Yeah,
be
I don't
something
know.
recent.
He played Cobra Bubbles in Lilo and Stitch, though. That guy. But I
Cobra
guess
Bubbles.
that's something. Yeah, he was in Pulp Fiction.
Ah, yes. How could I forget Cobra Bubbles?
I'm not. He was in Miami Vice. I'm not really seeing anything noteworthy, really, though.
Whatever. Okay, the point was he was another fan service cameo.
Right.
Okay, interesting. All right. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone was a big letdown, and I don't think you needed him. For example, like who's another actor that could have played that role? Someone older. I don't think he would have done it, but like Harrison Ford, probably could have
Yeah.
played that role.
Ford would have been good too.
I don't think you could have got Russell Crowe. I'm just looking at like a list of older male actors. What about Jack Nicholson? That would have been some shit. That they should have got him. Just for like a small cameo. You could see him as a
Yeah, that
Ravager
would've been
leader.
good. Yeah,
Oh,
and it would have
shit.
been. I would have been really into that too. I would have thought that was super sick.
Yeah. Nah, Stallone didn't do it for me. Okay, that's all I had. You guys have anything else you want to bring up?
You know what I thought was
No.
kind of cool in the end credit scene with Stallone and all of his buddies? The guy, like the weird red guy that didn't talk, was using the same magic that Doctor Strange was using, if you noticed.
The weird red guy that didn't talk. I'd have to.
You noticed that?
I'm gonna watch
Gonna
it
be
again.
honest, I don't
No.
know who that is.
So there's 5 of them, right? There was the android Miley Cyrus, the black guy that everyone cheered for, the ice guy, Sylvester Stallone, and the other
fish
guy. Yeah, the
You
fish
talking about
guy
the
that
fish
didn't
guy?
talk. He, like, used
Yeah.
that weird magic to do 2 thumbs up. And that was the same magic that Doctor Strange used, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's cool. That's cool.
So, I mean, that's some link that you can see.
Mhm.
You know, did anyone else catch the Howard the Duck cameo again?
Yeah, he was all over it. How could you not catch
He was
it?
everywhere.
Well, I only saw
I
him
didn't
twice.
really care for it, to be honest.
It was funny
Yeah.
at the end of the first Guardians, but now I'm just saying, come on, dude. Like,
It's just Howard
There's,
the Duck. Like, who gives a shit?
I mean, I think
Who
the
really
joke
gives
is
a
that
shit?
the first Howard the Duck movie was such a piece of shit that everyone wants to
It
forget
was,
about
yeah.
why
Well,
would
that's-
they make a movie? That's
Well,
real.
it's also the fact
I mean,
that it was,
whatever,
made by,
but-
it was made by George Lucas, too, so...
What the fuck? Okay.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway,
Well, there was
yeah,
actually...
the
there was
first
one
cameo
more
was
thing.
funny. Okay, go ahead.
The very last credit in the movie, at the very end of the credits before the final scene, there was, you know where they normally say no animals were harmed in the making of this film?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I
changed
saw
that-
where they said they're
They changed that to...
instructors.
No, yeah, it said, I am Groot, and then it changed halfway down the screen to no tree people or raccoons were harmed in the making of this film. The same cannot be said for their handlers.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was an interesting nod.
Yeah, overall,
Wait,
it
what was that a nod to?
Just a little Easter egg for people to catch at the end.
yeah, whatever. Overall, like, I'm gonna be buying some of the action figures from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Star-Lord, I'll buy, and I don't think I'm gonna buy Gamora, and probably not Drax, but I'll buy Yondu if they make them for sure, because he died. So, I'll definitely buy that one. Okay, you guys ready to move on to pop culture stuff now?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I've been redoing the Coyote Crew movies. We just watched the first 2 together before the podcast.
Yeah.
So if you like those, keep an eye out because more are coming. Everett, you said you've been rewatching Avatar. How's that?
Yeah, I rewatched the James Cameron Avatar.
Mhm.
I rewatched it, and I thought to myself, when I first saw this movie, I thought it was really good, it was groundbreaking. Now, after watching it again, a couple years later, you know, my hype for it kind of died a little bit, because, I don't know. Something about it changed. I don't know what. I just watched it again, and that thrill that I got when I first watched it, like, oh, we're on this new planet, it's, like,
You
really
mean
cool
when you watched
technology
it in the
used.
theater?
Yeah, when I watched it in theater and when I watched it a couple
Mhm.
times at home. It's not there anymore. I don't know why. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
I've probably
it's-
seen it too many times.
I actually haven't. I've
Well-
only seen it about 4 times. I saw it twice in theaters, saw it once at home, and then I just rewatched
The
it this last
technology
time.
just the technology moves quickly, and that's just not as interesting as it was when
Well,
it came
yeah.
out.
The big thing about that movie was that it was super techy, and that was really
Yeah.
awesome about it. But now, once you get past that, and it becomes less.
I think the
important to
next
you,
2 or 3 that he's making are gonna flop, but
Yeah, but
Well,
that
unless
like,
he has,
not the
like,
second one,
next
but the
gen.
third one.
but that
yeah,
like
which he
they
won't.
made like a Disneyland world made out of it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't,
whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know.
So we were laughing about this the other day, but I've been rewatching the Ali G show.
Oh yeah,
It's just funny.
Super funny.
It's just funny.
super funny.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think
if
I
you
like
haven't
that
seen
more
that,
than like Borat and stuff.
yeah, I like Ali G more. He's my favorite. I never liked Bruno that much. I don't think I saw the Bruno movie. Maybe
yeah,
I did.
it wasn't. It was kind of weird. It was the same. Sacha Baron Cohen goes out in public.
Did he
and
make
does
one
weird
after
shit.
Bruno?
Yeah, I think so.
What was it called?
Not like wasn't it The Dictator?
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, he did The Dictator. I didn't like The Dictator that much.
I
I
saw
thought,
parts of it.
well, considering it wasn't a in public stunt movie, I thought it was kind of funny, but because it
Yeah,
wasn't
he
his
can't do
normal
those
MO.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, not
You guys want to talk
nowadays.
about the Dunkirk trailer?
I never saw the Dunkirk trailer because I didn't see that in the
I did.
theater.
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
I liked. There was some other movie I saw this summer, or this year, where it was like the first 5 minutes of Dunkirk, something like that. Do you know what I'm talking
didn't
about?
see
Did you
that.
see that? It's the part where Tom Hardy, like, there's stuff going on the ground, but Tom Hardy is in the air with his teammates or whatever. What do they call them? Compatriots.
Like wingmen.
Whoa. Yeah, whatever.
I don't. Yeah.
And they're shooting down the Nazis, and then he runs out of gas,
Yeah.
like at the end of the trailer. Did you see that one?
I've never seen that one. The only ones I've saw
That
are
one
the,
was
like,
cool.
movie trailers plus.
I like that one better than the new trailer that we saw, but yeah, I mean it looks like it's gonna be a good movie. I don't
does,
really want to
although
know.
The
Yeah, go
person
ahead.
next to me in the theater,
Mhm.
during the trailer, said, "God, it looks so boring," and I shook my head a little bit.
Well,
Yeah,
mean,
I had
they make
a-
Transformers movies for guys like that.
I had an interesting moment in my theater that I was gonna tell a little bit later, but I'll
Okay,
tell it
go
now if
ahead.
you want. Okay, so I walk into my theater, and you ever walk into a movie and there's like a birthday party going on, and you just kind of have to either leave or deal with it.
Not usually.
No, what are you
You know, like
talking about? You
like a
mean in
birthday
the
party,
theater?
like yeah, you know how like people will bring like a group of 6 people for a birthday, and they'll like all be in a row, like down in the
Okay,
middle or in
yeah.
the back. Like that's what I'm talking about. So
Okay.
I walk in, and since my mom's in a wheelchair, we always sit in the middle of the theater where the disabled seats are.
Yeah.
So there's like about 5 rows in front of me towards the screen, and there's 2 rows behind me. In the 2 rows behind me, there was a group of a couple like 12 to like 11, 12-year-old kids that just would not shut the fuck up during the movie, and
That's
it was like
Yeah,
like all the
that
like all the
happens a lot.
normal. Well, no, what happened was in front of me there was like a group of college kids that kept turning around and whispering to each other and pointing them out, like throughout Guardians, like as it was playing, and I kind of noticed that, and as like I got up to help my mom out of her chair at the end, these college kids got up, went towards the door, and just yelled, "Shut the fuck up! Fuck you!" and just like hightailed it out the fucking theater.
They did it at the end.
Yeah, when the kids were like getting up and their parents were meeting up with them, they
Oh,
just
that's
yelled
that's
it and
worthless.
left.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
yeah.
You gotta say it during the
You gotta
movie,
shut them down while they're in the movie, otherwise it's not even
or at least
It's
go
not-
tell like the custodian or something.
Yeah.
the ushers.
I saw one
People
of
do
them
that
getting
all the time.
interrogated by an usher outside. Like we were leaving to go to our car, and one of them was just chatting it up with an
Yeah.
usher.
Yeah, when we saw Beauty and the Beast, there was like two like young girls, that were on their phone the entire time, and like laughing and taking pictures of each other. And I was gonna say something, but they kept leaving and coming back. Like they literally couldn't even watch the movie. They
Yeah.
got bored, and they came and went like 5 times, but most of the time they were gone. So I ended up just not saying anything. But yeah, when they were there, I'm like, if I ever have a kid like that, like they'll never go back to the theater again until they're like way older. Because to hell with that. That's some of the most obnoxious behavior in the world.
Yeah,
It's a matter of you paid for a movie ticket and you're not gonna watch the fucking movie.
I know.
yeah. That's my one down about going to see movies in theaters is that people are assholes.
I think if you guys remember, I saw Civil War like 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the times I went to the movie theater, there was a couple, there was 2 couples, and the 2 girls, like, they looked exactly the same. They might have been twins, and they had their boyfriends, and they
Yeah.
literally just sat on their phone the entire movie, never even looked up once. And like I was sitting like next to them so I could see, and I was just like, I just felt bad for the guys. Like they think that they're on a date, but really their girlfriends are on a date with their phones. And then on top of that, those girls, it's like, dude, how can you be so like disconnected from your life,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
everything around you? It's like you really like, you don't even understand that someone paid for your ticket for you to sit in that theater, and you're not even gonna look at the screen
They don't give a
because
fuck.
you're looking at the screen in your hand, whatever.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Anyway, all right. Gaming. Emerson, you want to talk about Prey?
Prey? Yeah, so Prey is this new game that came out. So far, I've only played about 6 hours of it, and the campaign is between 18
6
and 22 hours, depending on how you play. I'm going to give it an A so far, because the graphics are beautiful. It looks amazing. The story is fantastic, and some minor spoilers here. Just
You
for
said
all.
it's single player?
Yeah, it's single player. It's only single player, unfortunately.
Okay.
So some minor spoilers ahead, so just be aware of that. So basically the game revolves around, there's these things called neuromods. It's in an alternate timeline where John F. Kennedy was never assassinated, and the space race like heated up really big, so humans have all these satellites and everything. And they find these alien organisms called the Typhoon, who are these like they're not normal aliens, they're different, and from them they develop neuromods, which basically you download it into your brain and you can learn in one day how to play the piano or how to do advanced calculus. It's basically like the thing where you can literally spend money to learn a skill your entire life. You could learn to be a champion athlete.
So it's like that
Yeah.
thing from
The
the
problem
Matrix
is-
where they just download it into your brain.
Yeah. The problem is that when they're uninstalled, it resets you to before you had the neuromod installed. So if you would go around for 3 years being able to speak French because of a neuromod, then you get it uninstalled, you lose the last 3 years. So the game opens where you've had amnesia, you think you've been living your life, but in reality you've been on a space station for 3 years. And the aliens have broken out, and they have really crazy abilities where they become objects, like chairs and stuff. And you can actually pick up every object in the game. Nothing's nailed down. You can create barricades, do whatever. It's really quite fun. It's not a horror game, it's a thriller, but it has amazing graphics. The story so far is really interesting, so I'd give it an A. Definitely.
Okay.
Are there any flaws with it? Like,
Not that I've noticed. I mean, maybe when I'm at the end, I'd say, oh, there's a flaw here. But so far, it seems pretty good. I haven't seen glitches. I haven't seen. I mean, the enemies can be a little annoying to kill, which isn't great. But for the most part, it seems awesome.
Okay. All right. Anything else for gaming?
Not that I know.
nothing new. I mean, have you guys got into any old games recently?
Well, I've been doing the Coyote Crew movies lately, so
I've been playing with a bunch of
Yeah,
the mods on Skyrim Special Edition or on the new edition.
oh yeah.
Yeah, there's
I
a
need
whole
to go
bunch of
back and
them,
play Andromeda. I haven't even really scraped the surface on that one. All right, let's do Marvel news and then wrap this up.
Alright.
So we had the Inhumans teaser, basically a bunch of shadows on the letters Inhumans, but we did have the first official photo of the Inhumans. Did you guys see that?
It was the guy in the black suit. I think it's Black Bolt.
Sir, that is Anson Mount from Hell on Wheels. Show a little respect.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. The image doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look great. I mean, okay, it looks like they spent $1,000 on all the costumes combined.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? So, now Anson Mount, I like him as an actor a lot. I don't know who the other two people are. Their faces look familiar. The two women, their faces look familiar.
Yeah.
The guy on the right who's playing Maximus, which is sort of the villain, that is
Yeah.
the really bad guy from Game of Thrones that everyone hated. I can't remember his name.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
He
Well,
fought Jon Snow in the Battle of the Bastards. What was his name?
What, King Joffrey? No, that's not King Joffrey, is it?
No.
Alright, I'm an idiot. Alright.
Oh God, who was he? What's his name? He got eaten by. Oh, I shouldn't say it. But
Yeah, I have no memory.
Ramsey.
of this.
Ramsey. Was
Oh,
the
Ramsey
guy's name.
Bolton.
Ramsey
Holy
Bolton.
shit.
Yeah. So it's the guy that plays Ramsey Bolton, and I don't know the character Maximus that well, but apparently that's perfect casting. So I'm looking forward to that. The guy to Anson Mount's right, he is he's a famous actor. The thing is, I remember him playing a mental patient on The Sopranos, and every time he pops, oh, He was the guy from X3 that was the porcupine. Do you
Oh
remember
my
him?
god.
It's that guy. I
Oh.
don't know what character he's playing. I don't know the Inhumans that well, but yeah. So he's there, and then there's like a really tall black guy who I don't know. Um, and now what I'll say about the costuming is that it looks really over designed, except if you look close, you can see that most of what they're wearing is like one or two piece outfits. So like basically a jacket and pants, um, or a shirt and pants. They have all these lines on them that sort of make it seem fancier than it really is. But this stuff doesn't look too complicated. For an ABC show, it doesn't look cheap, but for like a Marvel property for superheroes that we're supposed to be excited about, and they're going to show this stuff in theaters in September, um, I would expect a little bit more. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
I don't
same
think
here.
it looks that good.
I know that the redhead is Medusa, pretty sure, but
Hmm.
I haven't really read Inhumans comics.
I mean,
Couldn't
when
tell
you compare it to their actual costumes, like it's kind of far off, but I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah.
Though how they look like that.
Okay. Anson Mount and Maximus look the most interesting to me, and the rest of them don't really seem like. I don't really want to know what they're about. So
Yeah, I don't. I didn't. I don't
I'm
know.
excited
I
to
just
see
remember
what
I saw
Black
that,
Bolt
I
is
saw
like.
that picture, and I was so utterly confused about because there had been all this hype about it, and then I looked at it, and it looked. It didn't get me excited.
Well,
I mean, Black Bolt can't talk without his voice.
Yeah.
So isn't he going to spend the entire series just not talking?
yeah, I think so.
So that means they're going to have to have
I'm curious to see
one of
what
the
they
other
do with him
characters
more
be
than
the-
anyone else.
So if he's not the lead, then
He is
they're
the
going to
lead.
have to. But he can't talk, so they're going to have someone else be the talking lead.
Well, I think that'll be Maximus,
All right.
but we will see. Okay, let's move on from that. Defenders trailer. What'd you guys think?
I liked it. I liked it.
I
Did
really
you?
liked the mix of music they use. Because you know how they've been using, what's the name of the song that they've been using throughout the entire Defenders teasers?
It's that
Nirvana.
Yeah, it's that Nirvana song.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones. She's back. She's not a great superhero. We don't really know what she can do.
I mean,
But,
Stick described her as the smartass detective, right?
Yeah, but it's nice to see a lot of crossover. So, who's the black detective? The female? Forget her name. It's not Colleen. She loses her arm in the comics. What the hell is her name? And she has a
I
romance
don't
with Iron Fist. She's in Luke Cage. She was his love interest in that show. What the hell is her name?
Misty Knight.
Misty Knight, right. So immediately you see Misty Knight and Jessica Jones, so that's one thing. And then Matt Murdock walks in the door, so that's another thing. And all right, so now we see how they're starting to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And then they're talking. I actually think that Jessica Jones might be the most interesting personality, not necessarily like superhero wise, but just in terms of character. I think she's probably the most interesting one to follow and watch.
I think I
Because
had,
Matt's a little black and white. Finn Jones is boring, and Luke Cage is predictable. So
Right.
But
That's true.
I still think that Finn Jones is gonna work much better
I expect him to.
with the group, because on his own, no, I don't want to see that. But with the group to kind of change things around, I think he'll be more interesting. And the scenes where we see the four of them fighting inside that like that building, that
That
looks
hall-
cool to me.
Like that-
Well, there's a
that-
clip. Go ahead.
Well, two things. One, like, you got to see, like, the whole hallway fight scene that they have in every single one of these Netflix shows. There's always at least one that's always memorable. Then you had, like, two of your suspicions confirmed that Electro was going to be a big part of this, and Iron Fist just smashed Luke Cage in the face. So that kind of gave you an idea of how much damage she could take.
It seems like there was a sequence where Daredevil was helping Matt train, something like that. I mean, sorry, Iron Fist train.
Mm-hmm.
Matt was helping Danny train, so
Makes sense.
he's going. Yeah, he is. Iron Fist is going to be the key to this, I think. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but
Well, yeah, if they're facing the hand and he's the eternal destroyer of the hand, then it makes sense.
if they're free. Now, who do you think Sigourney Weaver is playing? Is it Typhoid Mary?
I don't know enough about like Typhoid Mary to make that judgment.
She
All I know
used
is
to
that
be
whoever
like a
she is,
henchman.
She has Elektra.
She used to be, yeah. She used to be like a henchman, I thought, wasn't she?
You're
Like
asking
one of the
me a
higher
question.
level. I'm asking Everett.
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, she usually like works for someone.
I mean,
Maybe
she
she's
she,
working for Elektra.
she had like psionic powers
No,
in
she
the comics.
definitely controls Elektra. I'm trying to figure out what the hell she can do. I'm looking for abilities.
Yeah, she has telekinesis.
Highly
and
skilled
stuff.
athlete, trained martial artist, exceptional
Yeah,
swordsman.
That's Sigourney
excellent
Weaver.
physical condition, peak level agility and reflexes,
Yeah, I don't think she's Typhoid Mary.
pyrokinesis. Okay, so she can do fire. That's her thing. I hate when they like every character has like superior strength and all that.
Everyone has a gimmick.
Well, that's just an
She-
easy catch-all.
She can be hired as she's been hired. What I've read, she was like a hired assassin in the
Mm-hmm.
Frank Miller run. Sort of like a pawn, but like higher level.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I think it might be her. She has telekinesis.
Yeah.
She can create spontaneous combustion, and she has separate personalities as a result of mental illness. There's a pacifist Mary, there's a typhoid and Bloody Mary.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's,
okay. Well, I mean, whatever. It's just that she has red hair. That's the only reason I'm thinking it might be her. But Elektra's here. Yeah, and she seems to be evil.
Yeah.
Especially with what they
So,
tried to explain in
look
Iron
out.
Fist. All the resurrection stuff.
Well, I'm glad that gets sorted out, because there's too many unopened or unanswered questions with these shows. Like, Iron Fist didn't really explain a whole lot. You barely even saw where he came from, and we never found out what that hole was in Daredevil season 2. We still don't know what Jessica Jones can do, and Luke Cage probably answered more questions than it should have. Like, could have done without half that shit.
Yeah.
But
some of the other things.
what I wanted from Luke Cage was honestly just, I liked him being in Harlem, helping people. Like, my favorite part was the first few episodes where he's trying to make rent, that sort of stuff. That's what the show should have just been. They should have just stayed there.
Yeah.
Maybe have like a villain. You have Cottonmouth. Just let him play with Cottonmouth. Leave it at that. Keep it in Harlem. Don't bring like this superhero weird stuff with like this villain that can match him physically. I don't know. I didn't care
Yeah,
for it.
it was strange. I don't know. Well, I told you I didn't enjoy that.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's it for Marvel. We're not going to do DC today, but next week I don't think there's a lot of movies coming out, but there is Pirates of the Caribbean coming out this month. Am I right about that?
I'm gonna go see that. Yeah, it's like May something. I forget. Hold on, let me check it.
I heard they're bringing Will Turner back.
Yep,
I heard that too.
As a cameo.
Okay,
they're,
was the last one the Mermaids?
Yeah, the last one was the Mermaids.
Yes.
The whole
Okay,
thing in
so
this movie is
May-
that you know the guy that you've been seeing
2
in the
weeks from now.
trailers.
Yeah.
The Spanish guy.
No, not the Spanish guy. The guy,
No,
like
the
the young
younger
boy,
guy.
the younger guy.
Yeah, what about
That's
Will's son?
that's Will Turner's son. But that's-
that's stupid.
I think it's gonna be cool. I mean,
Okay,
They
so
kind
was
of-
the
Here's
last
thing,
one the
Johnny
mermaid
Depp
one?
really can't carry
The la-
this. Yes, it was the mermaid one.
Okay, I hated that.
what Stranger Tides?
It was awful. Yeah, it was
I didn't
bad.
like how they
That was with
changed the way
Blackbeard,
Jack
right?
Sparrow looked. Yeah, it was Blackbeard.
That
They
was
had
with
Ian
Blackbeard,
McShane. Ian McShane was in that movie, and like they wasted him.
I loved him in John Wick for like a split second.
Ian McShane?
The guy who played Blackbeard.
No.
Was he in John Wick? Was he in John Wick 2? Is that what you're referring to?
He was in John Wick 1 for like a split second. Do you guys remember? Did you see John Wick 1?
I did. I don't remember.
Remember for a split second where that woman betrayed everybody at the hotel and then she gets cornered by all those operatives and he's like, "You've betrayed our hospitality," or something like that. That's the guy who gives him the heads up that what's his face is going to the helicopter at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Ian McShane.
Okay.
I think.
How about this King Arthur movie?
I'm not interested at all.
It looks. It looks kind of. I don't know. In weird way, it reminds me of like Valerian and Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers is coming out soon.
CGI type thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I saw Valerian trailer though.
Transformers isn't coming out this month though. Wait, Alien Covenant is coming out too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see that. I am pumped for that.
So yeah, that's Alien Covenant the 19th next week. We could do King Arthur, but to be honest, ever since we did Captain America, I'm kind of itching to go back through the MCU. Are you guys also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down. I own all the movies. So.
As do I. I'm down for that.
Well, I was thinking we could either do it by viewing order, which would be Iron Man. Like I would do Iron Man next, or we could do Guardians next, since that one really doesn't have a place in the timeline.
It's up to you. I mean, I'm fine with whatever. I like them all, more or less. It'd be interesting to go back and see Guardians again after just watching Guardians 2.
Yeah, I might go
you guys wanna do
re-see it.
Guardians?
I might go re-see the movie on Sunday.
Guardians will be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do Guardians next week. There's also some other movies that came out that I completely forgot about, such as The Founder, about McDonald's with Michael Keaton. So I'm gonna try to watch that this week too.
One.
Then there's another one with Matthew McConaughey called Gold. Did you guys hear about that?
I've not heard anything about
It's already
that.
out on Blu-ray. I don't even know where that came from. It's about Kenny Wells, a prospector desperate for a lucky break, teams up with similarly eager geologists and sets off on an amazing journey to find gold in the uncharted jungle of Indonesia. Getting the gold was hard, but keeping it is even more difficult, sparking an adventure through the most powerful boardrooms of Wall Street. And it's Matthew McConaughey, Bryce Dallas Howard, Edgar Ramirez. So yeah, I mean, Matthew McConaughey is a good actor. So, and it's got a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.7 on IMDb. I don't know,
So
but I
be
might check
worth
that one
checking
out. I'm definitely going to check out The Founder for sure. So if you guys want to review that with me, then go ahead. All right, I think that's all for this week.
All right.
I think we're good.
So keep an eye out for the next episode of the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube if you want. Keep an eye out for the Coyote Crew movies. And I'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye.
See you later.
All right, see you guys later.